All right, let's go ahead and move on because we're almost 2 hours in. So let's at least make it 2:30 so we can cut it off. Again, this is. Now I'm going to go ahead and play this one because I want to get this out of the way. We've been on this show saying for the longest time we want Christians to start speaking the freak up. We've been saying that for the longest time. We're sick and tired of turning the other cheek with this bull crap that the white supremacists have been using Christianity to forwarded their agenda. And Christians, and I'm speaking for myself. If anybody want to jump in, that's fine. I'm speaking for myself. I'm sick and tired of watching white supremacists use Christianity to forward their agenda, and other Christians just standing by going, we got to do it. We just got to stand by our faith. And we don't say that. I'm tired of that. I'm sick of it, honestly. So this next video pretty much proves what I am saying that I want Christians to start doing.
What this Christian politician said made my jaw drop. A bill in Texas that just passed the Senate would force all public schools to prominently display the Ten Commandments in every single classroom. The bill is currently being debated by a public education House committee, and here's what a Christian on that committee said.
I say this to you as a fellow Christian. Representative Noble, I know you're a devout Christian, and so am I. This bill, to me, is not only unconstitutional, it's not only un-American, I think it is also deeply un-Christian.
Yes.
And I say that because I believe this bill is idolatrous.
Yes.
I believe it is exclusionary.
Yes.
And I believe it is arrogant. And those three things,
yes,
in my reading of the gospel, are diametrically opposed to the teachings of Jesus.
Yes.
A religion that has to force people to put up a poster to prove its legitimacy,
yes,
is a dead religion.
Amen.
And it's not one that I want to be a part of. It's not one that I think I am a part of. My concern is instead of bringing a bill that will feed the hungry, clothe the naked,
yes,
heal the sick.
This man's preaching.
We're instead mandating that people put up a poster.
Oh,
loving
that's
your neighbor
a word.
Is the most important law. It is the summation of all the law and all the prophets.
100%.
I would submit to you that our neighbor also includes the Hindu student who sits in a classroom.
Yes.
The Buddhist student who sits in a classroom, and an atheist student who sits in a classroom.
Yes.
And my question to you is, does this bill truly love those students?
Great question.
I'm going to go a different direction than I think you're trying to lead me.
Of course.
Let me get my rant out of the way. I apologize, but let me get my rant out of the way. First of all, dude, don't talk during somebody else talking. That's irritating as crap. Yes! Mm-hmm. That's the word. Don't do that, man. I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. But this is what I was saying. Open your damn mouths. Start speaking out. I'm tired of you sitting on the sidelines and going, well, it ain't bothering me, so I ain't gonna say nothing because I'm a true Christian. While these fools are sitting there on a pulpit, sitting there telling them that they want some way where they can go and take gay people and try them and execute them. And you're just sitting there going, no, we just got to stay in our faith. We got to keep the... No, you don't. No. You literally don't. That's not how this works. And if you are a true Christian, then there are taking your faith. And the funny thing about it is, because I found this fascinating when I see a whole bunch of videos where I try to put shows together and put reels together and everything else. This is the one thing that I have found so irritating from the right. Stop politicizing everything. Fucker, you stop politicizing everything. Everything that you do is politics and power and wealth. Every decision that you make is for politics, power, and wealth. Power more than a lot of other things, but it's politics. Who you are dealing with, and things help me out because I put the number up the other day. Was it 7% of their base that feels this
Is
way?
what?
That feels this way.
Feels what way?
Put the Ten
The
Commandments in the,
Republicans?
yeah. Put the
Yeah, I
Ten
think I
Commandments
don't
in
know
the
what
30.
the number
30.
is, but I know that they hail from that same. It's 60% of the Republican base that holds to these things, which shakes out to somewhere like 20 to 30% as far as that wing of the American population. But I'm not sure as far as how that particular issue lines up. Um, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
But
But
let me
go ahead,
finish.
finish your
Let me
point
finish
before
real
I
quick.
start.
So this is what I have been saying for effing years. We're on our third year. I have been saying this since year two. So years, a year. Start talking. Stop sitting on the sideline because your faith is being weaponized. That's what they're doing with it. And they're smart. I will give them that. They're very smart because they never, if you notice how their speech pattern goes, they only use God. It's very rarely they use Jesus. Very rarely do they use Jesus, but they real strong on using God's word and what God wants and everything else. Because the funny thing about it is, Old Testament, God. New Testament was Jesus. Look up New Testament and Jesus.
Your audio's
You're
bad.
muffling it again.
Probably because I'm yelling at the top of my freaking lungs. My point is, so I can speak clearly. Or my mother's in the house now, and don't you talk about God like that. So she done got to my audio again. But my point is, please start speaking up. Please start saying something. Please stop sitting on the sideline. This ain't going away because you go stay in your faith and you gonna stay in, let's call it the way it is. Stop thinking because you stay in your lane, this is gonna go away. It's not. White supremacy for years, for decades, for centuries have used Christianity to do the most heinous people to the other, heinous things to the other that they deem others. I just wanted to show an example of what I'm saying about opening up your damn mouth. That a tragedy, if I could even say that, a tragedy that don't have to occur for you to say something, you can be proactive. This is a bill that was presented. This wasn't a bill. This was presented, and this guy went, "This sucks raw. This should not even came up for debate." And the lady basically balked. I know you're trying to just get me to go a different direction. I ain't trying to get you to go no different direction. I want you to answer the damn question I just asked you. But that's their agenda. Remember, laminated paper, answer to any questions that we have. I'm done, and I feel like this is our third year. I feel like I'll be saying this next year, and the year after, and the year after.
Oh, you'll be saying this next week. What are we talking?
And yeah, starting next week. So I'll sorry. I went on a theist rant. Go ahead.
Well,
Tracy, would you like to speak, or Anna?
here's what I'll say. Um, Roland raised some really good points. Here's what I also like to add. For a Republican Party that always talks about the Ten Commandments, they certainly break a whole lot of them. I mean, look, shall we go down the list of the 10? We got the thou shalt not commit adultery. They do that. They got the don't bear false witnesses. They do that. They covet things. They take those things. This party makes me sick. And they know what they're doing when they say to the average Christian God, they know it's like they're saying wink wink. We're really talking about Jesus, but well, we're not gonna say it because we know that's the we're we're trying to what is it the word I'm trying to use? We're trying to unite people behind this. The Ten Commandments are accepted, and trust me, as a practicing Christian, no problems with the Ten Commandments. But again, it amazes me how many of those that the people on that committee probably broke, and they're wanting it to be just like he said, a poster. You don't really mean any of those because one of the Ten Commandments is, of course, love God, but also love your neighbor as yourself. Are they really doing that with this type of wasteful time? No, but it'll pass because it's Texas, and then it'll pass in Florida, and then it'll pass in Alabama, and then it'll pass in Indiana. And it'll just we have to stop the Republican Party. That's really what I want to leave with because this kind of stupidity is just like getting on my nerves. They weaponize religion. They know most people aren't gonna like be able to think through, so they use these. Well, things were better back then. No, they weren't. Things weren't better in the 50s when black people couldn't vote in all states, or you couldn't marry outside of your own race. They weren't better. They were better for you, but they weren't better for everybody. They go back to this nostalgic time that never existed, and they'll say, oh, the worst problem that schools had was chewing gum, and maybe somebody talking back, but now they're bringing guns to school. Gee, I don't know why. A state that lets children carry guns, gee, boy. I mean, you think? You think you're going to have problems with guns when you don't do background checks? Probably. I know none of what I just said makes any sense, but I ditto to everything Marlon said. But they need to be keeping more of them Ten Commandments instead of stopping. Then talking about let's put it up here. How about let's keep it? Let's keep it.
You make complete sense.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you just said. You Christians, evil Janicus that Ben Dixon like to call them.
Oh, the evangelicals, yeah.
Evangelicals, yeah. That you Ben Dixon like to call them.
Yep.
You voted in a guy who darn near broke every commandment in the Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
That's not hyperbole. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not even hyperbole, and that's not judging. It's just based off of what we know he did.
Go through the Ten Commandments and tell me which one he didn't break. Like seriously, I'm not being funny. I'm not being hyperbole. I'm not trying to be,
because it's never about the values of, specifically again talking to Christians. It's not the values of Christ that they want. It's the control that they want. It's the control over people's lives. It's the control over women's autonomy. They're using religion to get that and to cover themselves to say, oh, I'm the only one that's righteous, or this group. Kind of like that so-called pastor who I'm like, if that guy's a pastor, then I have to be an archbishop. The one that said that if you vote Democrat, you're not Christian. Where's that? Like, what? Didn't base it off of anything in the Bible he actually read. Just You mean hate? I'm like, really? Really?
But he don't have to, because he's speaking. Sorry to use this word. He's speaking to his pulpit. He's speaking to the people who, yeah, it was just like the guy who sat there and said, if you're a witch, and I know who the witches are, and I know you're here, so if you're a witch, you need to get out of here.
Oh, that was the same guy. That was the same guy.
Yeah, that probably was. I guarantee it probably wasn't saying, and you're a witch, and I know who you are, and I'll call you out, so you need to leave. You're speaking to a group of people who say, yeah, whatever, because they know. They purposely join a church, which, if you want to going into a damn tent of church, cool. I know some churches start off small. I'm not jumping on
Jesus
y'all.
taught outside.
I'm
Sure
not
did.
jumping on that. I'm not jumping on that. But
no, he's got quite a few people that go to his congregation.
No, what I was going to say though is the church thing comes from the church revivals, the tent revivals they used to do, that became very popular in the 80s. So he's doing that as a throwback to that. So that's where that part comes from. But I want to hit a couple points, and believe it or not, I'm going to be somewhere between where Marlon and Tracy are. So I'm guilty of doing this because oftentimes when I'm irritated or angry, I lump things so I can make my point and keep it moving. But I think it's important when we look at what the Republican Party actually is, and then look at examples that kind of mirror what they're doing. Okay. So what the Republican Party has successfully done, and they started this during the big switch when the parties realigned in the 60s, but it really crystallized when you had Ronald Reagan, and then you had the evangelist preachers come together and start speaking along the same point. Because what they did was they took Christianity and created a new religion. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing the boat, right? What we're looking at with these people are not big Christians. They're actually a whole new denomination that claim to be Christians, right? So they have taken American identity, white identity, and Christianity as a faith, brought it all together, and created a new religion. This is why you will hear them talk about God, but you don't really hear them talk about Jesus. Because under their new form of the religion, Jesus is not the focal point. God is, because it's more convenient. See, they are focused on Old Testament theory wrapped up with hand-picked pieces out of the New Testament, mainly focusing on the book of Revelation. So they are saying that America is the new Israel. They are saying that America is like, you had Israel before, and now we're the new Israel, America is, and that this new land was opened up. And just like in the Old Testament, when God sent them into whatever the land of Canaan or whatever it was, and said, kill everybody, take the land. That's what they did here. They used the Bible to justify that, using those same types of scriptures for why they could do westward expansion, why they could do divine, whatever that thing was called, manifest destiny, all of that. So it looks like a new religion, but it's not a new religion. This is a very old religion. It's a uniquely American religion. And so long as we refuse to look at it for what it is, we'll keep doing what I sometimes do and just attack like all Christians. And one of the reasons I attack all Christians is because I also attack all religions. I have a problem with all of them. And the problem I have with them is not that they exist, but it's because you claim to hold yourself to a particular standard and a particular calling, and yet you do not walk in it and you do not trust in it. So for me, it upsets me because you're misleading people and you're actively recruiting people to join your team while being hypocritical about what your team does. That's where my anger and frustration comes in. But I am careful in my more somber moments to pull these things apart, right? So when I look at the real Christians, I don't know what those are, but let's say the real Christians, and I'm giving y'all a hard time, that is because there are things happening in this land right now, right? You have racial issues, you have crimes against all types of vulnerable communities. We have the all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm not saying that all Christians are being quiet, because that wouldn't be fair. It's not true. It's that, where are your leaders? Like, you're structured, right? If you're a religion, the Christian religion, the Muslim religion, you're all structured. Okay? So why are your pastors not leading the moral charge beyond the walls of their church? That's the problem, because that shows me you, the preacher, the minister, the one who is ordained by God, you don't believe in God. You don't trust God because you aren't speaking up for him when that's what you were called to do. Now, that is my criticism, but I have to kind of temper it a little bit, because I chose to divorce myself from that religion. So I can't be but so critical, because I'm not even a part of that crew. So how am I sitting here telling you what you're not doing? I got to be about what I'm supposed to be doing, right? The main difference being, though, you claim a higher calling and I don't. So when I look at it and I say, wait a minute, the things that I do, the things that I involve myself in, trying to take care of elders, children, whatever, the positions I hold, the views that I hold, if anyone ever wants to know what my religion is, I tell them, watch me. And you will get my religion. Just watch me. Convict me by what I do. Okay? But my Christian brothers and sisters are too placid in many cases, but it's not all of them. And then I have to be much more conscious, especially now, in not painting them all with the brush, because I made a point here. What that gentleman said in the video, he said that the greatest law is love thy neighbor. Not true. The greatest law is to love God and have no God before him. That's the greatest law, right? Because the only law that I'm aware of, or the only thing that I'm aware of that God said he actually hates, is blasphemy on God. Okay?
Yeah,
so
you close.
I'm close? Okay, well, fix it for me before I move on.
Okay, so Jesus said that there was one sin that is unforgivable, and that is to blaspheme against the Holy Ghost. That is the only sin that cannot be forgiven.
Okay.
So
for
those, sorry, but for those of us that don't
know what that means?
Yes,
yeah. Okay.
please.
So see, please. Okay. So this is a whole long with Tracy answer. Tracy is not a theologian. Tracy is just a convert. It's to one. It depends on who you talk to. I would say it's to disrespect and disregard. That's what I would say. You're just totally disregarding the Holy Ghost. You're just saying, okay, that's it. I don't believe in you. You don't have any power. You don't have anything. You didn't come from God. You're just some made up imaginary thing.
Is the Holy Ghost specifically Jesus resurrected?
It's who's left. When Jesus left the Holy Ghost when he ascended to heaven.
Yeah, it's subject now. That one, unfortunately.
Oh wow.
Okay, first of all, you have to be an adherent anyway.
Mm-hmm.
In my view, for any of this to really truly appear to apply to you, but you're going to get different interpretations as far as how the Trinity works, depending upon how you were brought up and how.
Because I would say the Holy Spirit is God. I would say that's God here walking us, moving us, and talking to us. Just like y'all heard me say, on several occasions, when I'm talking about Jesus, I'm talking about God. I made no process.
So they are one and the same. All three. Three in the same.
Yes,
that's my point.
The Trinity.
Okay.
Yes.
So in the Catholic I mean, not Catholic, in the Christian overarching thing, the way I was taught it is the Trinity is one and one is the Trinity, right? So they're just different ways of viewing God. When God the Father never came to the earth, but when God the Father did come to the earth, hear what I'm saying? I know it sounds funny, but follow me. When he did come to earth, that was him sending us his son, Jesus, who is also God. Okay. Then when Jesus left, okay, then he left the Holy Spirit to work amongst all of us. So but if you really just draw out, all it's really saying is God is, right? There's literally, if you wanted to find God, God is. So
Thank you
he's
very much.
all of
I
those things.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Thais, for the help, because I was like, and what you want to do?
all of this, Tracy, so you cannot jump on me anymore. All of this is going to be in the replay, but go ahead, Theus.
Oh, but then the point I was going to make, and this is really, really important to me, I'd say, is America, for the vast majority of America's existence, has been an apartheid state. Okay, we have only been post-apartheid since the mid to late 1960s. Okay, and we've struggled ever since then. And the struggle with America from the beginning has been who deserves to call themselves an American. Now, ride with me. I'm taking you somewhere. So America has always struggled with who gets to qualify to be an American. And it practiced apartheid, forced segregation. Okay. I'm not going to go too far in the weeds, but there's de jure and there's de facto as far as how rules are made and customs and all of those things, right? All of that. Now, look at our closest counterpart currently. Many people, when I say that, are going to think England. No, our closest counterpart currently is Israel. Okay? Because when you start to bring the religious conversation in, you start looking at new Israel, America, and Israel. Okay? And what are they doing? Apartheid state. Right? What are they doing? Fighting over who is qualified to be considered an Israeli. They're literally fighting over that. They're saying that if you don't believe in this particular religion, then you can't even have a voice in this government. That's where America's trying to go as well, right? But like Tracy said, this is all being done as well as a way of power because South Africa did it, America did it, England or the UK has done it, Israel is doing it, where the minority population wants to preserve its power at any cost. And they will change the government structure. They will change the religious structure. They will change anything they have to keep that.
Anything that gets in their way.
Exactly. So I think it's really important. If you hear this, it's going to sound like a SAT thing, but this is what it is. A Zionist is to a white nationalist what what Christianity is to Judaism. Okay? Break that apart. Christianity is a faith. It is a belief system. You cannot judge a belief system by its adherents. You can only judge it by its nature. So Christianity is not at fault. Judaism is not at fault. Zionism is taking Judaism and your political objectives, blending them together, establishing an identity under that, and then saying that we are now the ambassadors of Judaism, do as we say under the force of religion, even though we are not using religion, we're just using it as a shield. White nationalists are doing the same thing here. They are saying that we are Christians, but none of our actions have to be Christian, but we're using it as a shield. Because if you come against us, we're going to say you're going against Christianity, right? And that is the dynamic that we're dealing with when you allow a religion to become an identity. So while we're fighting all these fights back and forth, Trumpism is just a leg of the white nationalist identity. Because everyone on the conservative party right now, they're fighting with what is their identity. Some don't like being called a white nationalist, so they call themselves Christian nationalists.
Yeah.
Right? Some don't like being called a Christian nationalist, so they call themselves a patriot. Some don't like being called a patriot, so they call themselves a conservative. But they're all fighting for what are they hiding behind the shield of Christianity, though they do not follow it. And it's important that we know those things so that when we are fighting each other, we know what we're fighting. And I think that is truly getting missed. So when we talk about the 10 Commandments, I'm going to hit this real quick, Marlon. Mm-hmm. So 10 Commandments. Think about this. The Republican Party, the conservative wing of this country right now, what are the things that they're saying that a teacher cannot do? A teacher cannot teach or discuss or address sexual identity, sex ed, or anything down that path. Now, 10 Commandments. Number 1, you shall have no other gods before me. Okay? Like the man said in the video, what did you just say to the Buddhist child? What did you just say to the Muslim child? What did you just say to the non-believer? You just told them that you do not matter here.
Yep, you
must worship our Christian God. Number 2, you shall not make idols. But you're going to put up this graven image, in effect, that everybody's supposed to stare at, pledge allegiance to, and follow. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Which God? Well, you're going by the 10 Commandments. So either you talking Jewish or you talking Christian, which is the same God. So now you're telling anybody who doesn't believe as you do that they don't even believe in the right God. All right. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. What is a third grader going to do with that verse? I can't explain it to you because for some people the Sabbath is Saturday, for others the Sabbath is Sunday.
Yep.
Explain that to a third grader without indoctrinating them.
Yeah.
Number 5, honor your mother and your father. That's a nice one. That's good. Hey, that's just being decent. I can't argue with that one. Okay, but it's kind of hard to say you got to. But yeah, what if your mother or your father is abusing you though? What are you saying to that child? Okay, now, number 6, you shall not murder. Yeah, you're not supposed to murder people. I'm with that one.
That's good.
Yeah, I appreciate that one.
Yeah, but you
Number
could say
7.
stop sending people to unjust wars that you caused, but hey, whatever.
Thank you. Starvation is murder by another means.
Yep.
Okay.
I apologize that I didn't pull over fast enough for you, cop. But I'm sorry.
Number 7, you shall not commit adultery. How do you have that conversation with a third grader?
Right.
And
how do you do it? And you talking sex now?
Yeah.
We're talking sex now. Okay.
Ooh.
You shall not steal. Well, you got to define what stealing is, and then explain how we became a country and how it can get complicated. But you're not allowed to teach the context of history, so that even makes that one hard. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Okay, but I'm 9. Can you explain that for me?
Don't lie. That's what it. Yeah, that's what.
But is it really
be
though?
truthful?
Because false witness just means not. But I'm saying not lying and not bearing false witness, not the same thing.
I apologize.
Okay.
But it's kind of ironic to me that we have politicians and one part of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. That one is what you won't continue this. Sorry.
Literally, bearing false witness against your neighbor is lying specifically about a person, not just lying.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So what Republicans and Democrats do to each other daily is lie about each other. They tell half-truths, partial truths, and all kinds of stuff. So you telling me that you want to put this thing up here for everybody to have to follow, but the very nature of your business is contrary to it. How can you enforce something like that? Right?
What's 10?
Do not
Number
bear
10.
false witnesses against thy neighbor. And that's why we got the fire hunters Biden's laptop.
Yeah, we gotta find it. We gotta find what's on it.
Right? It's so crazy.
Mhm.
And then the last one, you shall not covet. Okay.
Mm. Mhm.
Explain that one to a third grader. Right? Don't envy what somebody else has. Okay, you first.
You're right.
Explain capitalism if I can't covet.
Capitalism is based off of coveting.
Yep.
So it's like, this is where people like me who stand outside of religion get so angry because I believe in God. I believe in God's creation. I believe in God's divine order. I reject the tenets that you put inside of your religion because I see what it does to God's creation. And I reject that. So when I'm looking at this here, all I'm seeing is this is great for people who have ascribed to your religion. But to impose this on someone else, how would you feel if the next president, and I know how you would feel, but how would you feel if the next president was Muslim and he came in with the Quran and said, we are now going to put in our rules? You would
That would
immediately
never
label
happen.
everything a madrasa, and you would name everything a cult, and you would bomb and burn this country down. But it's okay because it's your God.
Yeah, and it's not. But yeah,
Right.
that's our whole theory. That's our whole theory.
Sorry about that long.
No, because I'm gonna tell
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
What you said is, you are so corporate, capitalist, as it may, that you really figure that you cornerstone God.
Trademark, hashtag.
All of it. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
You remember earlier when I said that you have used the religion of Christianity to do heinous people to others, and then I said, and you also are the people who decide who others are.
Right.
That is capitalism. That you make all the decisions and rules and regulations and bylaws and anything else. If I'm missing something else, just let me know.
I was just going to say, the only thing I was going to say, and this is just my little encapsulation, is I would be okay with whatever, and I am okay with whatever your religion is, whatever your faith or non-faith is. I think that we're all just trying to figure it out. And no one, in my opinion, no one knows the truth. The only truth that is truly known is unknown to us because the Creator doesn't talk directly to us. But if you want to spread your religion according to what you interpret your God has said that you to do, if you're doing it by convincing, I am okay with you, do your thing. If you are doing it by commanding, I am opposed to you no matter what you believe in. You want to have rallies and convince people why you are right? Hey, we'll deal with the effects thereafter, like we're dealing with the Trump people.
Right.
But if you are commanding, I'm against you.
I'm against you. Church of Satan is already on it. Yeah, there is. And LL helped me out because I wanted to think one is Wisconsin. And there's another state.
There's an actual Church of Satan?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's okay.
Yeah. And they went to a judge and
they do,
and it was
they
on
do actually good work.
That they said,
Crazy.
okay, okay, if you want to put the 10 Commandments in church, then we are allowed to put our covenant in church.
You mean school?
School.
In schools.
If you want to put the 10 Commandments in school, we are allowed to put our covenant in schools. And the judge agreed.
Had to.
Either you're going to open up to all religions, or we're going to shut down all religions. Because I don't even know what the video was. I don't show it. I didn't show it because this is correct on one thing that he said 2 weeks ago. I hate saying that. I love coming on this show every week. But 2 weeks ago, when he said, I hate listening to podcasters who are speaking to people who they know they're more educated than, that they know they have no idea what the hell they're talking about, and they're just
when he was going against that guy because it's bad.
Yeah. And one of the guys was like, a Christian, and America was born on an understanding of Christianity, and the guy was like, no, it wasn't. America was not born on Christianity. It really wasn't. You need to look that up. And I didn't want to show that video because, again, a pet peeve of mine, if you're new here, it's a pet peeve of mine. If you're going to talk research, I have no problem. There's nobody on this panel right now who has a problem going toe for toe for you on situations, topics. I have no problem with it. I may learn something. I really do. What I have a problem
with... In fact, I'm hungry for it. Please.
Yes. I have no problem with it. Like I said, I love to learn. I don't know everything. I may learn something from you. What I can't stand is when you just throw stuff out there and it's like, dude, that is so not right. And it took what's the Google thing? 0.33333 seconds to find out that what you're saying is not correct. But you're coming on here rambling. It's the comments that I get where the guy was like, if you notice in my comments, well, I just say thanks for watching. It's not really, it really is thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you. The other part of me is thanks for watching, because I'm not going to argue with you when there's certain things that you can research yourself. I'm not your teacher. I'm not your teacher. This is not what...
They got to go to page 215 of Google search. They got to jump way. Forget about that. They got to jump way. Just like that video.
They gotta find a 2017 blog. Not even a blog. 2017 blog. This is the deal about research. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna help anybody that's new here. This is the thing about research. Research is issue, research. Oh, doggone it.
Conclusion.
Hypothesis, conclusion. Problem, research, hypothesis, conclusion.
You sure? I think the hypothesis would come before the research, because you have to state what your best guess is.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You have to research the hypothesis.
Yeah.
So problem, hypothesis, research, conclusion. You come with answer, conclusion, and then you hypothesize how you can research to get back to your conclusion.
Yeah, they go find whatever justifies the decision they've already made. And and I'm 100% with you. And those people are actually kind of fun to debate. But it can be frustrating too.
I don't have the energy anymore. I don't.
But I think with all that stuff that I was saying, one point that really got lost, and I want to make sure I'm very crystal clear on this. All right. My Christian family, I'm not against you. I'm actually with you. And I understand, which is part of what I was trying to get at, that a significant part of the identity of your faith has been hijacked. These are not true followers of Christ, and they just happen to be loud. And so they are the ones who are getting all the credit for wearing your name. And it's easy for me on the outside to say to you that you need to be louder and you need to fight this way or fight that way. I'm not in your camp. So I really cannot make that kind of a demand on you. What I can say to you is if you do decide that you're ready or willing to stand up and be more vocal and stand on your principles and push back against these usurpers, you will find a friend in me. You will find a friend in so many of us who are of Muslim faith or any other number of faiths, because we're all waiting on each other. The problem is somebody has to go first, and I'm not even saying that it needs to be you. I'm just saying when you decide to move, you will not be as alone as you think you are. And it's unfair for me or anybody else who is outside to tell you what to do. We just wish you would do something more than what is being done, because we're fighting without you right now.
We really are. We're taking up. What should I say?
There are a lot of if you search for Christians speaking up, I have found, because I did need to hear somebody talking about Jesus equals love, and this, whatever the thing in America is going on, this is not love. This is not,
this is Americanism.
That is being said.
There's a guy. There's either a rabbi or he Catholic. He has a channel specifically on this subject, and he's very good. He is really
But
good.
That's one of the points that Tracy has tried to make for us multiple times. Just because you don't hear it doesn't mean it's not
being said.
Exactly. It's happening. And my biggest critique is I'm glad, because I know people. I talk to people. All that. I'm with you. This stuff is happening.
It's happening in pockets.
Critique does come back, huh?
It's happening in pockets.
I got a whole
but it's the only way
opinion on this one.
But it's the only way it can happen, right? In a manner of speaking, it can only happen in pockets in a manner of speaking. But what I was going to say, though, is you have designated leaders. Like my original point, you have actually designated leaders. So your leaders need to be more vocal where other people can hear it, not just inside of your church house. Those people already are there. They are already on your team. They already hear you. And I need you to talk to them, because a lot of the evangelical churches have lost control of their congregation. But it's two sides, right? One, we need to be less critical because we're not in your shoes, right? And then two, y'all got to step up a little bit more from your leadership standpoint, because it's just these people just not they're not doing it. And then on the third point, the media, which I hold accountable for a lot of the mess in America, they make sure they don't put the microphone in front of certain people.
You just said exactly what I was about to say, because this is where I'm about to disagree with not everything you said, because most of the part you said. There are people speaking out. There are Christian leaders speaking out. But guess what? They don't have the mega churches, so nobody's listening to them. And so I wish, like you said, I wish we would stop saying, well, nobody's saying anything. I don't think I'm nobody. I'm pretty sure I think I'm somebody. Not maybe a small voice with a big mouth, but I may be a small voice with a big mouth. But I'm not a leader. And I understand your point, leadership needs to say something. But my point is, there are some leaders, pastors, bishops, what all other million titles they have.
Whatever title they wear.
Yeah, because they got a bunch of them. I mean, they got a bunch of them. But whatever titles that they wear, they're in leadership, they're saying something, but they're not getting the microphones in their mouth, because they're not the Joel Osteens, they're not the T.D. Jakes, they're not the Rod Parsley's, they're not. They're not the
ones who have already gained control of celebrity and the stage.
Yeah,
and
we like
the ones who have
we want to watch. The problem with America, we want to watch a show.
We want to watch
Yes.
a train wreck.
Exactly. Yes. And until
We would rather tune in to see the hypocrite than see the teacher.
exactly, we want to see the students misbehave, but not the teacher. What do I see that person for? It would
That
be
was boring.
impactful. It would be way more impactful if a mega church pastor said something about George Floyd or any of those things. One, they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it because the majority of their audience is white, even if they are black themselves. Let's just keep it 1 in 100.
But there's something there for white people too.
No, but I'm saying they're not gonna step on those toes.
I know.
Yeah, they don't want to mess with the money.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, just not even talking about the money. And this is
the influence, the prestige, the whole.
Well, not only that, we are in the same movie. America is like a stage player, whatever you want to call it. We just keep changing the actors to play the role.
All right.
So when and you touched a nerve, and I know not what you meant, but it's like this is just one of those little things for me.
Sorry.
Anything that even no. You made a good point. I'm just saying for me, it comes across almost like, because you were like, well, white people need to hear it too. They do, and the thing is, they can hear it anytime they want to, but they have the ability to opt out of it, so they don't. And I am so tired of the cost to convince white people is paid in our blood. And I'm constantly being told, don't give up on the white community. Don't give up don't put all white people in the same bucket. I know not to put all white people in the same bucket. If all white people were bad, this world would be way worse than it is. But what I am saying to you is, we can't tell the good ones from the bad ones until it's either too late or irrelevant.
Right.
So you come across the good ones, it's irrelevant. No harm, no foul. Probably had a great experience or a non-experience or whatever experience. They're just people. Come across a bad one, that could be your life.
Yep.
So it's like I am so it gets right under my skin to even think about. It's my responsibility.
I was not saying it was your responsibility.
I'm not saying, I know you didn't, but this is what I get.
Right? I really believe it is people, my cousin's responsibility to talk to.
I ain't trying to convince nobody.
But this was the deal.
I think what Anna is saying though, it's her responsibility to speak to people that look like her. Because I can't do it.
I've been saying at the beginning of the show, when I even started this show, I am no longer, I refuse. And for a certain period of time, I actually slipped. A little bit, and then I got right back to it because America pissed me off again. I'm not doing this damn absolute bullshit anymore with anybody. When I say stuff, not all white people, not all black people, not all gay people, not all trans, I'm not doing this with you. I refuse to do this with you. If I say something and it triggers you, you probably the fucking person I'm talking to. But I'm sorry, but not sorry.
But by what you just said,
with you.
What Anna was saying,
I'm not gonna sit here and say something and after every sentence go, well, not all. I'm not doing.
But that's not Martin. You
I'm with you, but that's not. But what I was saying is, I know that when Anna said what she said, it wasn't all. Right?
No, I'm not even talking about.
But Anna. I was still triggered. I know, but Marlon, hear what I'm saying. I know that when she said what she said, she wasn't saying all. I still was triggered, even knowing that, and so I spoke to that. So I agree with you. You can never have any real conversation of every time you're having a conversation, you're like, well, except for Billy, and
Ronald and Mike and then Carl and then
you can't make no point that way. I agree with you, Marlon, 100%. Right? But what I'm getting at is,
I
it
was
still has
literally
continued to
saying
be.
that for
I
anybody
have
that's
one
new
thing
to
that I
the
really
show.
want to get over
Oh, go ahead,
everybody's
Tracy, because I've been running my
head.
mouth.
If there's no peppermint patty, there's no peace. That's what I want to say today.
Now, why did you want to say that, Tracy?
That's her. No, Theus, come on. Why would you do that?
I just
That's
had to
not
say
great.
something to lighten the load.
We were in a great place.
If you're offended, that is your problem. That's not
Yes,
what I'm. That
I agree,
it is.
100%. Mm-hmm.
And you may
You
be
should look at
you
why
may
you
not
are
even be
offended.
that person. You may not be that person that I
And
say
y'all
or
went right
what we
back.
say. I apologize.
Trying to give y'all easy out. Trying to give y'all easy out.
No. You may not be that person that we are talking about. You may not be anywhere near the person that we are talking about. I get that.
Or you might be.
But
Well, you could
one,
be.
you may be, or two, you know somebody who is.
Maybe.
I was
don't have
giving
the
y'all
time.
the.
I don't have the time phrase to keep going. I didn't mean you. I didn't mean everybody. I'm not doing that. I'm just not.
Well, sometimes I will do that because
I can't. I can't.
I
I
think
can't have it. I
I
can't do
think
that no more.
I'm with you, and I don't blame you. And I'm probably one of the more hard-hearted out of the four of us as far as how I view certain things, especially when it comes to matters of race. But the thing is, I believe, wholeheartedly believe, that everybody is a complicated person. Everybody. So while I think I see fairly clearly when it comes to race, and I see fairly clearly when it comes to children, and I see fairly clearly when it comes to the queer community, I know I got some major blind spots when it comes to women. I got blind spots when it comes to Christian. You see what I'm saying? It's like we're all complicated. So just because you strong over here, you a mess over here. So can you acknowledge that so then you can grow from it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you can't grow from it and you can't acknowledge it, then you're going to get your butt on your shoulders every time.
I was giving y'all an easy
100%.
out, and y'all just kept coming back.
I'm so right at this point in time. I'm going to say this live.
I'm into the conversation. Sorry.
I'm so disappointed in this. I am so you. I am so disappointed in this.
What did I do?
You had it right there.
What?
I see clearly now. The rain is gone.
I don't know that song that well.
You don't know that song?
I mean, I know it, but I don't.
I
I know it enough.
Obstacles in my way.
You had it right there.
But I don't know that song to the point that would come up in my head. Like I know the song because
I'm sorry, I must be so doggone.
Kodak commercials growing up.
Doggone sleepy. That's the first thing that popped in my head was I see clearly now.
It's gonna be a bright.
Because I would have figured you would have went with
sunshine.
I would see your they see me now. That's what I would have figured you would have done. But
oh, please don't ever. If we don't ever do nothing, never do that. Never.
All right,
they
everybody.
Can see me now.
Let's go ahead and show the last video of the
But
night.
I'm very, very sorry, but I really would love to hear Theus to his completion, and I'm not sure if you were done.
I talk so much, you can consider me done.
He don't know when
yeah, because it's almost Sunday again.
He literally has no idea that he's done. But trust me,
I got so much in my head that it just keeps coming.
Trust me, it'll come up again.
Just invite him to one of your Zoom calls where you're doing a show and say, hey, this is going to be a 45-minute discussion, and somehow 2 hours later.
That's why I don't get on this. I explained to my mom, and I apologize, I'll make this as quick as I possibly can. That's why I actually...
How can I do that on my channel?
I talked to my mama about you, Theus. That's why I talked to my mama about
But not me and Anna. No, we don't.
No, because this was not an issue with you and Anna. Tracy,
Oh, you're talking about an issue. Just
Yes.
we come up to Mama, right? We're family.
Everybody knows you. My whole
That's
family
Mama.
knows you. My whole family knows you.
Do they know what we look like?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My daughter literally asked, "Where's Tracy?" one day. She really did. And my other daughter goes, "Oh, I like Anna."
Oh,
I like Anna more. My wife.
Nobody likes Thea.
My wife likes these. Yeah.
I like
Thank you.
And my sister.
and I like Marlon, and I like Tracy. That's why I love being on this panel, getting to pick your brains.
You don't understand. I know I have to do it. I know I'm gonna get on subject. I know I have to
Sorry.
do it
Sorry.
for the greater good of taking a weekend off. And I apologize, but I'm gonna continue doing it because I have to.
You're
I
not
really do.
apologizing.
I have to do it. But oh my God, I miss not doing this. It just is something
I
in
know.
me that I can't. I finally found something that one, I'm good at,
The conversation is.
and two, I enjoy doing.
Mhm.